Welcome to our poetry performance workshop. Today featuring is LA native Pam Ward. Recently released her poetry anthology Between Good Men and No Man at All. World Stage Press. She is also the author of two novels, Want Some, Get Some, and Bad Girls Burn Slow. Kensington, a UCLA graduate, California Arts Council Fellow, Pushcart Poetry nominee, and founding member of the Lemur Park Book Fair. Published in numerous publications, including the LA Times, Pam's been honored by the LA Department of Cultural Affairs as a trailblazer writer in 2025 and participated in the first literary Paris Olympics 2024. Her recently completed novel, I'll Get You, My Pretty, is the true account of her aunt's link in the Black Dahlia murder, an event so shocking, California closed its border. So that's a little bit of background information on Pam Ward. And now, Pam Ward, take it away, and we look forward to seeing your feature as you've designed it.
Hey everyone. So I will start with, okay, I guess this is a reading about how to read and how to do a performance. And I think the number one thing is to grab them as soon as you can. And so I'll read this short poem called Why My Tea Sticks. He threw a typewriter at me from the upstairs front window. Now use that in a poem, you bitch. So I did. See, a poem doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be overly explained. And another thing you want to do in a poetry reading, breathe, take a breath. When you do read your poems, read a little bit slower. So I'll read this one slower than I normally do, and it'll probably sound normal because I tend to kind of race through it. This one's called Hollywood Hills. Every time I went over to Kim's, her dad came outside while we laid next to the pool. It was a small, useless tank with horrible swamp green water where bugs hatch their eggs in the scum. Her dad always came out there, checking the pump, fiddling with the gauges, sticking his wrist in the deep end. Ken leaned over to me, saying, "We're all in therapy now, ever since he fucked one of my friends." I watched him duck in the garage and emerge later, shot glass red, a Jim Beam smirk on his lips. He wades in and wet covers his thighs, hips, and gut, ballooning vulgarly over his shorts. His grin makes me think of a zipper half down, a man whistling at kids while he's hosing his grass. My hairdresser begging me, suck it, just suck it right there in the chair. And I know that it's out there, happening in Hollywood or Watts or Marina Del Rey. Every day there's a hand with a fistful of candy, a wet, hungry tongue resting over chapped lips, a fist waiting to scrawl your name in the stall, an arm ready to pull you underwater. So, sometimes your poetry is based on a true story. And even though some of that happened, I just remember this girl's dad always coming out there. And I was like, buddy, we've seen you a few too many times. So I just let my imagination roll there. Another thing to do with your poetry, practice reading. Sometimes I'm reading a poem in my head, da 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 da, and it sounds so perfect. and then I'll read it and everything is not working out. So it helps with the editing process to take a beat and just, read it. And that poem is dedicated to you, Puffy Combs, because we know who you are. All right. This next poem is called Rioters Blues, and I dedicated it to George Floyd. I wrote it during the George Floyd incident. It starts with this epigram by Martin Luther King. A riot is the language of the unheard. Baa, baa, black sheep, have you any fools? Yes, sir, 3 cops full. One with his kneecap pressed against Floyd's neck. Another one just standing dumb, another on his back. Baa, baa, black sheep, after seeing that, we done got some gasoline, some matches, and a bat. And that poem is called Rioters Blues. So I just wanted to show also the way you can blend poetry styles with something that already exists, a form before, like a nursery rhyme. And I was thinking of Bad Bad Black Sheep. I don't know why, when I was watching these cops, and it just, the poem just came. So I got real lucky. Another thing, which I'm doing right now, never explain the poems. Have you ever gone to poetry readings and people just go on and on? Yeah, this poem's about my Aunt Mildred and she was in the hospital, and then I bought a cat, and then my clothes didn't come out of the washer in time, and then, I got some gum stuck in my hair, and they go on and on and on. I actually was on a panel at the LA Times Festival of Books, 10 readers, and one poetry person stood up first and read the entire time. So none of the other readers got to read. And I just think that's the epitome of just, it's such a faux pas. It's like you didn't read the book of poetry etiquette. So don't overly explain. And I will proceed with my reading because we are in class. And this next poem is called Baton Lessons. I took 2 baton lessons and quit, leaving the metal rod next to the ice skates I'd already abandoned for good. It wasn't until Leslie moved in next to my face, splattering her slob on my neck. But one day I snapped, came home and grabbed my baton, put on my pink tights and glitter top, and walked back outside and whopped her right there on the sidewalk. I remember gripping it, holding it the way I'd seen Willie Mays, then twirling it like in a parade. Mom made me apologize that time, dragging me down to her house, lecturing me about stones and sticks. But secretly, I was proud she got me those lessons. You never know what tricks come in handy. Thank you very much. And that poem was based on a girl that was trying to jump my cousin, and I just grabbed a baton and, went into action. I'm very loyal and family oriented. So any questions, dear group of 2? I shall proceed if you like. Let's see. Oh, let's do another poetry reading tip. Adjust your list. So say you're at a poetry reading and you look at the audience and they're yawning, or there might be a person there that your poem could be offensive to. Maybe you just turn the page and say, oh, I'll save that one for another time, because the last person you want to insult is your audience. I insult my audience all the time, but you really don't want to make it a habit, of doing that. Okay, so this one is called Car Fight 59. I'm an Angelino. I race in my car. I'm really working on it hard. I'm trying to do better every day. I like LA, particularly the car racing in residential areas. The last one was with an obnoxious slob in a white gloss Benz. Cut me off big time, him and his fat cigar and Barbie bitch glued to his lap. Passed me with one hand. I had to brake so hard my groceries wrecked the back seat. It really pissed me off, but I got back next to him and blasted the most ghetto rap tape I had. Slid all the windows down, started bobbing too, like I gave a fuck, acting oblivious to his dog-faced mug and stuck-up date. I waited in the right lane like a crook, ready to smash it down the second that sucker went green. Wasn't even where I wanted to go. But sometimes you got to show folks, let them know that we all own these streets, even if it means taking in extra scenery. Thank you very much. So I did have an altercation on the road. I very seldom do now, but I have been chased. One time I remember being chased home. Someone took my parking place at this old store called Orbox on Fairfax and near, and so I had an old Mustang, and I remember I was so pissed. It was blatant, just zoom in, haha. And I said, "Hey, wait a minute." And she was like, "Fuck you." And I was like, "Oh God, not, I'm just not the one." So I put, the Mustang's a real big, old, heavy car. I put that thing in reverse and bam. And then I took off. And the police did chase me for a while, but they were looking for another person. And I parked in the backyard at my mom's house, and she closed the gate, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't have anyone we don't have a car like that here." So anyway, okay, back to the poetry reading. Let's see what else. Oh, extras. So when you do come to a poetry reading, bring a few extra poems. That way, even though you might have a set list, you might want to bring some poems that you can add, or if you see one that doesn't work, oh, that one might do better, and it's better. I actually prefer the poetry reading style of round robin because that's so much fun. I'll bring just a whole pile, and then I'll take a poem that I feel might merge easily with what someone else might have read, and I always think that's really fun. Okay, so class, back to your next lecture, paper plates. The good old days were late nights in the kitchen, canned beans and weenies and fries cooked in fat, war food that talked back and thrashed in hot grease and popped if you got up too close. But we loved it, loved standing there right next to Mom, near the comforting warmth of her house dress. We stood watching hot dogs exploding like welts do, gruesome skin oozing with juice. Near the flame, near her elbow, we stood there in peace and the quiet of Daddy's not home yet. Thank you very much. Let's see what we got. Oh, let's see where we are on time. You don't want to go over on your time. Okay, I'm going to read one more poem, maybe that's it. And because I really want to give my lovely audience a time to share so we can have some dialogue after. And I really think it's important for poets to kind of, commune. It's really fun. My brother said, "Pam, why do you do so many poetry readings all the time? You're going to poetry reading, poetry reading, poetry reading." And I said, "Bro, why do you go to so many basketball games? You go to pickup game, pickup game, pickup game, pickup game." I said, "To me, poetry readings are a pickup game. It's so much fun to go in, do your little dribble. Maybe you miss the shot, maybe you don't. And to me, that's how poetry readings are. And you work on your craft, you get to know other people, you might be invited to another reading. It's a pickup game." So here we go. Maybe I'll read something happier. Do I write happy poems? Damn, I do have a poem. I wish I could have read it. Oh, well, I don't think I have it, but it was funny. And it was for Peter Harris. Next time. Next time. All right. This isn't funny, but I'm a mom, and this is for my daughters when I used to be really afraid to leave them in the mall. Drop it like it's hot. If you ever dropped your daughter alone at a mall, 15, ponytail, lip gloss, and jeans, dropped her alone to shop, dropped pan of hors d'oeuvres, wearing her dyed and went straight to heaven grin. If you ain't never cheesed a lie, waved and said, bye, y'all have fun, did a long fake out waltz like you strolled to your car, doubling back, watching them stop at hot dog on a stick, where their soft kiss spears your own lung. Becoming bloodhound, watching them roam, stocking coats, shoes, and scars, becoming mall cop, espionage mama, a female James Bond, feeling a time bomb tick in your bra. If you ain't ever clocked a walk, hunted behind t-shirts and feet, feeling the raw heat of murder while smelling fries and Dior, teetering between slaughter and Lord, please make the boys sweet, creeping around thought corners, pretending to like shit you don't need, eavesdropping while pretending to read. If you ever dropped your daughter and fell on all fours, sniffing up pretzel blood, letting your hem lick the floor, forgetting you wore a skirt, stifling a growl between molars, hounding C's candy teen love, going store after store, then baby, you ain't never lived. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. Small but mighty group. So, oh, lastly, okay.
Am I
So I'm
still
going
on?